Bruce Coslett and the New York Jets, it's been a season of mixed emotions. The frustration of devastating losses. The fulfillment of last-minute victories. Today, another challenge for the Jets. A confrontation with Marv Levy's Bills. A battle between two coaches. Their last meeting escalated into a war of words. Were the Jets faking injuries? Were the coaches playing to the press? The battle resumes today in Buffalo, where the Bills can clinch their fourth straight AFC East title. But before Buffalo takes its curtain call, they hope to stall the Jets' run for a wild card.
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills.
And at right end, from Virginia Tech, number 98, Bruce Smith. From Alabama, number 97, Cornelius Bennett.
Ago, you saw the reaction from this capacity crowd as Bruce Smith made his return, and he will be back in the starting lineup today. It is a 35-degree day in Buffalo. The temperature is dropping. The forecast calling for rain and sleet later in the day, probably after the conclusion of the game. Capacity crowd, 80,000 turning out at Rich Stadium, with the Bills gunning for a home field advantage throughout the playoffs, while the Jets, with a record of 7-5, driving for a wild card spot, and several Jet players have made it clear they do not like the Bills. Perhaps 8 straight losses to Buffalo has contributed to that emotion. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Paul McGuire. The Buffalo Bills coming off the lackluster offensive effort in the loss last week to the New England Patriots, and his head coach Marv Levy mentioned to us yesterday he thought it was a case of our big play guys not coming up with the big plays, and that includes Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas is the all-purpose leader in the National Football League. If he does not have a good game, and he is their big guy, then they have a lackluster performance. They did it against New England. They also did it against Kansas City. Thurman Thomas makes this offense work.
And the Jets are hoping that their Thomas, Blair Thomas, continues to play the way he did last week. He was able to break out of it, this following a string of disappointing performances, and they're hoping that once again he runs well this afternoon.
Kenny O'Brien is having an efficient year, but Blair Thomas, here's the guy that not only runs with the ball but catches the ball. If he has a good game, the other Thomas, then it means O'Brien and the Jets have a good game.
And here in Buffalo, the Bills have won 16 straight at home, 31 of their last 33 over the last 4 years. The Bills' last loss at home, December 10th, 1989, beat by the New Orleans Saints 22-19. And the Bills have won the last 8 meetings against the Jets. The Jets had won the previous 7. Head coach Bruce Coslett, who mentioned to me earlier today that from an aesthetic point of view, Paul, you'll like this, he said he loves to watch Buffalo's offense operate, admires their efficiency, but doesn't plan to look on in admiration throughout the game.
He will not cheer for them?
Only from an aesthetic point of view. The Buffalo Bills won the toss. They will receive with Al Edwards and Kenneth Davis back. And Louis Aguiar, who had great success last week with the short pop fly kickoffs against the San Diego Chargers, will kick it off. Special teams coordinator Al Roberts said Aguiar may try to do that as a changeup from time to time, but they were most concerned last week with the Chargers, who have one of the top kick return teams in the NFL. Let's see how Aguiar plays it. This time he is booting straight away. And it's Kenneth Davis on the return. Reaching out to the 28-yard line, Tony Stargell involved on the tackle. Will Wolford, Jim Richard, Kent Holt, Len Parker for the injured John Davis, and the house, Howard Ballard up front. Jim Kelly, the quarterback. And when they go to the three wideouts, and that is how they open up, Al Edwards comes on to join Lofton and Reed and McKellar. The ball spotted at the 28. And the Bills, with a record of 10 up and 2 down, start out. And they go right to the ground. Back in week 3, Thurman Thomas carried the ball for 62 yards, but also came up with 13 receptions, a key to the ball game. Scott Mercereau made the stop. So it's a 2nd and 10 at the 28. And Kelly swings it out. Thomas able to break the tackle, reaching out to the 35-yard line.
James Hasty was the man that was out there. Pete Carroll saying, hey, we don't put just one guy on Thurman Thomas. Now, that circle around the head doesn't mean he's looking for somebody with a halo. That's just a defense. Yeah. But they got a hurry-up offense going against, which they have to, hurry-up defense.
And Pete was telling us that the Jets, he claims, as Thomas is stopped back behind the line by Marvin Washington, he says he tells his players on defense to relax. It is his opinion that despite the no huddle, the Buffalo Bills will be more tired than the Jets in this game.
We just saw Marvin Washington relaxing as he was bringing Thurman Thomas down. It's easy to say to relax when you got a hurry-up offense with all the talent that Buffalo has.
And here is Chris Moore getting set to punt to Terrence Mathis. And Moore is hit and then flips it. This is the tight end, Pete Metzelaars, hit for a loss on the play. Big rush by the Jets.
Well, first of all, Metzelaars doesn't make the block. He has the block long enough. Moore, the punter, doesn't get the ball off. Here's Moore now. Now, this is not a run. Watch this. He's turning the ball, and he stops because he sees Burkett in his face. Now, Metzelaars is there. Moore drops the ball off to Metzelaars, and Metzelaars is going, why are you giving it to me? Take the hit. Don't cause a fumble. But here it is. Chris Burkett is in the backfield. He makes a super play. Again, you know, when you look at it in the grass, they don't call that. That could have been called in the grass.
Chris Burkett, the one-time Buffalo Bill, has excelled on special teams for the New York Jets, who take over at the Buffalo 23. Brad Baxter able to break tackles. Stopped by Bennett and Odoms, and a penalty marker is down.
Baxter just showed an awful lot of agility because Nate Odoms came up to cut his feet out. He just ran right through Nate Odoms, who was going down at his knees and ankles, and picked up about almost 10 yards.
The referee is Stan Kemp in his 6th year in the NFL.
Personal foul, number 97 on the defense, unnecessary roughness, half the distance, first down.
That is Cornelius Bennett, called for the flag.
Well, 97 is Cornelius Bennett, and here comes Baxter to the outside. First of all, you're going to see Baxter. When he breaks to the outside, Darryl Talley misses him. Watch Nate Odoms come in and throw himself at Brad Baxter. When he does that, Baxter just runs right through it. And then at the end of the play, Cornelius Bennett came up and hit Brad Baxter out of bounds.
The Jets first and goal at the 7. And here's Baxter reaching inside the 5, and it is Bruce Smith on the stop, and you can hear the reaction, the crowd chanting Bruce.
You know, the one thing the Jets do when they get down near the goal line, and which I like, is that they go right at you. Watch the Jets. The closest distance is straight ahead. Here goes Baxter inside. He is running very hard. Blair Thomas does not make a block, really no one to block, and then Bruce Smith is making the tackle, but that's inside. But I like their offensive scheme when they get down by the goal line.
The
Jets have a second and goal at the 3. Blair Thomas, Brad Baxter are the running back. And again, Baxter for the touchdown. So Baxter with his 9th touchdown of the season, and the Jets take the early lead with only 3 minutes gone by in this first quarter.
Well, watch what Baxter does. Now, they're going over Dwayne White, 67, and Sweeney, 53, the center. Watch, he goes to his right, and then he cuts right back in off the guard's block. Sweeney is there, 53, touchdown. That's good running. But again, Marv, straight ahead. Nothing fancy. Go right at him. Take the shortest distance.
Now Pat Leahy will come on to attempt the extra point. The big play for the Jets, executed by the one-time Buffalo Bill. Chris Burkett on the rush of the punter, Chris Moore, forcing the flip to Metzelaars. Leahy able to put it through. And then Metzelaars hauled down, so the Jets were able to take over deep in Buffalo territory. And there is Al Roberts, the Jets special teams coordinator, a running back at the University of Washington as a coach. Spent time with the Eagles and the Oilers and the USFL, and told us last night he'd like to kick it to the big tight end, Pete Metzelaars, who is usually positioned as one of the up men.
I think they tried to do that with Aguiar last time, but the ball got away from him. If you look at the height on Aguiar's kick, they are designed to go short.
And this is a short kick again. Kenneth Davis slashing his way to the 25-yard line. And again, Chris Burkett involved on the stop. The Jets with a 7-0 lead. 3 plays, 24 yards, and Baxter able to bring it home for the touchdown.
Here's Burkett, and number 21, Odegaard, is actually going to get in there with him. Here's Burkett, and he is fired up. Remember, he played for this football team. He's been an excellent special teams man. Edwards is trying to block him. Burkett is in there. Odegaard's down below. Burkett on top. Nice play.
And a first down for Jim Kelly and the Bills from the 26-yard line. It is Al Edwards on the reception. Edwards last week against New England, filling in for the injured Don Beebe, had a career-high 4 catches, 36 yards.
The one thing that Pete Carroll told us yesterday about the Buffalo Bills offense, their hurry-up offense to Jim Kelly, is that it is a very unselfish offense. They look for the guy that's got one-on-one coverage. Edwards has got that with Brim.
2nd and 2. Thomas has the first down. Stopped by Kyle Clifton.
Kyle Clifton made the stop, but Lageman, number 56, is the man that really messed it up in the backfield.
Jeff Lageman is having a terrific season. Drafted as a linebacker. He's come on this year at defensive end, and as he has mentioned to us, seemingly has increased his first step. He's improved his quickness. Kelly throws one high and far over the head of James Lofton, who was well covered.
Marvin Washington is the man in the backfield putting the heat on, but Kelly is getting it. They're forcing Kelly up the middle. They don't want to let Kelly just sit in the middle of that field and pick out the receiver he wants to throw to. They would like to see Kelly on the move if they can.
Jim Kelly telling us yesterday he was very upset with his performance against New England last week. Intercepted a career-high 4 times. Says he was throwing too frequently off the back leg. Almost picked off. James Hasty, who had an interception last week against the Chargers, had a shot at that one. It was intended for Andre Reed.
Hasty almost had it, but Kyle Clifton is the man that's going to be covering Andre Reed. 59. Watch Kyle Clifton in the middle of your screen. He's got Andre Reed, and then Hasty is there and almost makes the interception. If the ball's thrown high enough, he has it.
So Buffalo in the no huddle. You see the jumping, and the penalty flags are tossed.
Mercereau hit the center, Kent Hall. Lageman, 56, was also moving, but he didn't make contact.
Encroachment, number 94 on the defense. Still 3rd down.
Mercereau, now he is sitting there over the ball. Lageman moves, and that moves Mercereau, and when he's there, he might as well push the center because he's going to bump him anyway.
Buffalo with a 3rd down and 5 from the 42. Kelly again almost picked off. The intended receiver was Andre Reed. This time the free safety, Eric McMillan, had a shot at it. And once again, a quickie series for the Bills, bringing on the punter, Chris Moore, who had an adventure his last time out.
Yeah, he did, because Burkett was in his face. You see Kelly coming off the field smiling. I want to tell you, I was here watching the game when they played Cincinnati, and he threw 3 interceptions in the first quarter. He was smiling then.
That was a grimace.
Is that what they call it?
Chris Moore sends a high pop-up in the direction of Terrence Mathis.
Mathis makes a fair catch.
And the fair catch at the 22, a 37-yard punt. So the ball goes back to the Jets with 4.5 gone by in this first quarter.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Starter. Look for the stars and you'll find Starter. By Beck's, the #1 imported German beer. In your town, America, and the world. By Canon, the official camcorder of Little League Baseball. And by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Welcome back to Buffalo as you look at Bruce Smith making his return this afternoon following arthroscopic knee surgery back in July. Says the knee is stable, no pain, it is just sore. Jets first down from the 22. They lead the Bills 7-0. Blair Thomas tried to cut back, and it was number 78, Bruce Smith, right there.
Boy, Bruce Smith did a great job. Not only did he come inside, beats the block of Criswell to the inside. Watch this. He goes inside. He stuffs the play there. Now watch what he does. Gets off the ground, back off of Brad Baxter, and makes the tackle. That's hustle. There's nothing wrong with his knee, folks. He's back.
This is only his second game of the season. He appeared in the game against Chicago in late September, but he said he should not have been in there. But he tried to force it. It is a 2nd and 10. O'Brien with a bullet broken up. Good hit by Kirby Jackson on Al Toon.
Kirby Jackson read this play perfectly. His job was Al Toon. They throw outside. Now watch how 47 Kirby Jackson times this. There's the ball, bang, bang. If he gets 2 feet down, they would make that a catch and a fumble. A little bit too soon, excuse me, Mark.
Kirby Jackson, a one-time Jet 5th-round draft pick of the Jets back in 1987. Freeman McNeil and Johnny Hector now have checked in for this 3rd down and 10. Big rush on O'Brien, and down he goes. Jeff Wright, from his nose tackle position, comes up with the sack, but there is a flag down.
What Bruce Smith brings to this game in the Buffalo Bills defense is that they put 2 people on Bruce Smith. Criswell and Hake both have to block Bruce Smith. When they do that, that puts 1 man on Jeff Wright and all the way down the line of scrimmage and enables those guys to get in and make the play. Even though Bruce Smith wasn't there, he's complaining.
Number 27 on the defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
Clifford Hicks is holding. All right, watch this, Marv. Here's the double team on Smith here. What? Criswell is there. Haight is on the inside. There's a double team. Now, here comes Cornelius coming on this side. Lodi is there. Cornelius Bennett, then right up the middle is Jeff Wright because there's only 1 man blocking him. Bruce Smith doesn't get there, but he makes it possible for others too.
But with the holding penalty, the Jets first down at the 27, and they're having difficulty with the crowd.
There's only 80,320 some people here. I don't know what the problem is.
Bills back home after 3 straight on the road. A look at the ITT 10-minute ticker. Tampa Bay on a short touchdown run by Reggie Cobb with a 7-0 lead. Matt Stover kicking a 41-yard field goal for Cleveland. And Atlanta leads Green Bay 7-0. Jets with great interest in the Tampa Bay-Miami game as they vie for a wild card spot. And it's completed to the tight end, Mark Boyer. A good gainer for Boyer, making his 12th catch of the season. That goes for 21.
Now we talk about O'Brien play action. There aren't many quarterbacks that run it better than Kenny O'Brien. And when he does it, Darryl Talley, left of the screen, number 56. Watch where he ends up. See him way inside? When he does that, look at the tight end Boyer. There is no safety on him. All of a sudden, Kelso, number 38, appears, but that's after they've already picked up about 23 yards.
Well, Bruce Coslett, as offensive coordinator with Cincinnati, had perhaps the best of the play-action man, Boomer Esiason. And Kenny O'Brien is probably in the next level. So effective on the play fake. Has a first down at midfield. Straight ahead is Baxter. Brad Baxter fumbled a couple of times against New England 2 weeks ago, and he is not noted as a fumbler. Said in our talk last night that he lost his confidence, coughed one up last week. So most unusual for Brad Baxter. You get the idea that the Jets are trying to get him right back into it. He's a second-year man out of Alabama State. He spent 1989 on the developmental squad. Last year emerged as a productive power runner and is an excellent blocker.
Look, and when they got down on the goal line, it's obvious. They gave him the ball. He ran it twice and scored the touchdown.
It's a 2nd and 6. The Jets with a double tight end alignment, Boyer and Dressel. And again, it's Baxter. He is short of the first down. The hole plugged by the outside linebacker, Cornelius Bennett.
If you're going to run inside on the Buffalo Bills, you must have a guy that either turns out and blocks Bennett. Now, that time, they tried to block Bennett with Dressel, and he didn't block him. If he gets a piece of Bennett, they get a first down. You can't let him come down the line of scrimmage. He's just too quick.
3rd and 4. The Jets at the Buffalo 45. Jets 7. Buffalo nothing. 7:15 to go in the first. Again, Hector and McNeil in the backfield. The inside handoff to Hector, and the Bills saw it coming. Mike Lodish, second-year player from UCLA, had the raps on Johnny Hector.
Along with Leonard Smith, but Lodish hit him straight on. He was there. Again, you know, you can't talk enough about what Bruce Smith brings to this defense, is that you got to be aware of where he is, and you have to put 2 people on him. When you do that, that becomes one-on-one blocking everywhere else.
Bruce Smith making it to the Pro Bowl the last 4 years. 19 sacks last season. Second in the AFC to Derek Thomas. Here's the punt by Aguiar. Back is Clifford Hicks. And has the fair catch out at the 22-yard line. It's a 26-yard punt by Aguiar. And it's Buffalo back to the offense. They have been very quiet over the first 2 series. The team that leads the NFL in rushing and passing has managed only 8. Ball, a very low-key start by this explosive Buffalo Bill offensive unit.
You know, again, I referred back to a Monday night game against Cincinnati where they turned the ball over 3 times. Kelly threw 3 interceptions in the first quarter. The defense only gave up 3 points. Now, they've given up 7 already. But the amazing thing is, you just showed me a deal here. Thurman Thomas has run the ball 3 times for 0 yardage. He is one of their big play guys, the big play guy, and he must make them.
Bills from their 22. Edwards on the reception, and then hit down at the 25 by Jeff Lageman.
Lageman just makes a super play. He's rushing the passer, but because of James Hasty, who turns it back to the inside, Lageman gets down and makes the tackle for only a 2-yard gain.
Now Reed is in the slot to the right for the 2nd and 7. Edwards has the first down. Run out by the left corner, Mike Brim.
See, that time what the Bills did is they double-teamed with McKellar and Wolford on Jeff Lageman. Here it comes, right here. Wolford 69, McKellar 84. They double-team, but on the outside, you have Brim one-on-one with Al Edwards. Kelly read it and threw the ball there.
Now Kelly goes the other side for Lofton. Has him at the marker. James Lofton stopped by Kyle Clifton. And for Lofton, that is his first reception. We talked earlier about Marv Levy pointing out that the big play guys last week against the Patriots did not make the big plays. Well, Jim Kelly's longest pass of the game last week covered only 14 yards, and Thurman Thomas's longest run went for only 8. On the reverse, Andre Reed with a Buffalo first down. Let's see where they spotted it. It appeared that he picked it up and then was shoved back the other way. Eric McMillan made the stop. No, looks like they're going to spot it just short of the marker.
One of the big problems for the Jets is keeping an eye on Thurman Thomas. Everybody follows Thomas. When he comes around, they follow him. Now Andre Reed gets outside of Washington. Ken Hall, number 67, the center, is out there blocking. He outruns the blocker.
2nd and 1. And the first down picked up by Thomas and more. With the tackle as Thurman Thomas reels off 20 yards.
You know, when you talked at the beginning about the big play offense, look at the middle now. Here comes Thurman. The blocking is there. Number 51, Jim Richer, is a guard who really does not get the recognition on the Bills team that he should. He is one of the finest players they've had on the line for a number of years.
And Kelly, with a short set, completes to Edwards. He's been a primary target. Al Edwards makes his 4th catch. Covered by Tony Stargell with just under 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter, and things beginning to heat up now for the Bills. They are trailing the Jets by the score of 7-0. Kelly now looking at a 2nd and 2 at the Jet 14. Here's Thomas. Penalty marker is down. He has the first down inside the 10. Marvin Washington may have been the man who jumped. Let's see.
The Jets are offside. They'll take the play because the penalty would be, well, 5 yards, but the run was about 7 yards. So you'll give Thurman Thomas the run. It'll be first down. We have an injured player on the Jets team down. And that's Mike Brim, number 43.
And he has played exceptionally well. Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator, telling us last night that Brim has emerged as a big play man and has improved so much in his 5th year out of Virginia Union, acquired on Plan B from the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, here comes Brim. He's coming up to make the play on Thurman Thomas. He's set to make the play, and Thomas runs into him. But Brim not only gets hit, and then his leg gets caught underneath him because he can't get back out of there. McMillan, 22, is holding him in. Watch this. Watch his left leg.
Is refused.
Now there's McMillan. See his left leg just underneath. He can't get back out because his own man is pushing him forward. Thurman Thomas falls on his leg.
And a look at the ITT 10-minute ticker. Tampa Bay still with a 7-0 lead on Miami. Cleveland leads Indianapolis on the 41-yard field goal by Stover. And Green Bay and Atlanta now tied at 7 in the first. They continue to check out the injured cornerback, Mike Brim. We're down to 3:40 remaining in this first quarter. Marv Albert with Paul McGuire from Rich Stadium in Buffalo. The Jets with a 7-0 lead. No compassion from the crowd here in Buffalo for Mike Brim.
No compassion, but it's a great sign. Look at Brim is walking off the field with no limp at all and no help at all. And that is a very good sign for the Jets.
Mike Brim won the starting job, beating out the second-year player, Tony Stargell, after Stargell suffered an injury, and Brim has been in there as the starter. He's now replaced by Don Boyd Odegaard. Carwell Gardner has checked into the Buffalo backfield. He's a second-year player out of Louisville. A first and goal down at the 8. And the handoff to Thurman Thomas. And the ball was popped loose. The Jets claiming they have recovered. The officials having a tough time unraveling, and the Jets did recover.
Brian Washington recovers it. They pull the guarded tackle, Parker and Ballard, and then Thurman gets hit by Kyle Clifton, 59. The ball pops out, and Washington, number 48, recovers the fumble. They get the ball on the 6.
So it's Jets ball when we come back following this timeout. Well, this is the first time all season the Bills did not score on a goal-to-go situation. And in takeaway giveaways off that fumble recovery, the Jets now plus 14. They rank second in the AFC behind the Cleveland Browns. Trevor Maddox has checked in as the tight end for this first down from the 6-yard line. Here's the play action, and it's incomplete. Rob Moore could not hold on. He was covered by Nate Odoms.
He was covered by Nate Odoms, but Ken O'Brien really had to get the ball away because Bruce Smith, number 78, watch this. Bruce Smith is there. He gets by Criswell, and he hits O'Brien. The pass should have been caught because it hit Moore right in the hands.
2nd and 10 at the 6. Altoon split to the left, and Rob Moore to the near side. Blair Thomas stopped for a loss. Leon Seals and Kirby Jackson combining on the tackle.
There's just no place to run the football because when Blair Thomas comes out, Leon Seals, number 96, is in the hole. And then Jackson, 47, comes up. In the hole, there is Leon Seals, 96. He's there. Carlton Bailey, number 54, is also there, but Kirby Jackson goes up and makes the play. Now you're looking at 3rd down and 11.
Brendan McNeil and Johnny Hector in the backfield. Chris Burkett in the slot to the left. O'Brien receiving the protection, and that is picked off by Mark Kelso. The pass intended for Chris Burkett.
Chris Burkett was signaling that Clifford Hicks, number 27, is holding him. There's 27, Clifford Hicks on Burkett. Now the push to the outside, but Kelso, number 38, playing the safety and playing deep, makes the catch. Now the Bills get the ball right back, and they're inside the 30-yard line down to the 27.
For Mark Kelso, his first interception of the season. So the Bills from the Jet 27 as we come up on 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Thurman Thomas, gang tackle, reaching out to the 26. Kyle Clifton among several Jets to make the stop. It's the Jets 7 and the Bills nothing. Jets able to capitalize on the punting mishap suffered by Chris Moore, not able to get the punt away, and then shoveled to Metzelars, who was stopped. Jets taking over on downs and able to cash in as Brad Baxter scored. Kelly with the punt and the throw for the first down. The tight end Keith McKellar was hit down by Brian Washington.
Jim Kelly is the man that makes this play work. The rush is on, but he stays into the pocket. He'll fake the ball and then bring it back down. There's the fake. He brings it down, and then he finds Keith McKellar, number 84, over the middle. He beats Kyle Clifton. Not much you can do there.
Buffalo first down at the Jet 16. And Kelly throws. Touchdown! Andre Reed.
that play, Jim Kelly finds Andre Reed between Tony Stargell, 45, and Eric McMillan, number 22. Two safeties sitting in there, and he hits the ball with Reed going straight up the field, right in the seam.
Andre Reed with his 8th touchdown catch. The point after by Norwood has tied it, and Kelly is on a roll. 8 for 11 overall. He's connected on his last 6, and the Bills have tied the Jets at 7 with a minute 2 remaining in this first quarter. For Jim Kelly, who leads the NFL in this department, it is touchdown number 27.
Well, when you look at right in the middle of the screen, number 83 is Andre Reed. And Stargell, 45, is one safety, and McMillan's the other. Look at, he just splits the two. McMillan never gets there. Instead of going towards the post, he ran straight up the field, Andre Reed, for the touchdown.
Andre Reed, who appears to be headed to a 4th straight Pro Bowl, having another sensational season. 2nd in the NFL in receptions. Well, let's take another look at it here. Right here is McMillan. I can't get this thing to line up straight. And here's Reed on the outside. Now watch what happens right in here. He's going to come right down the seam. Neither one of the safeties can get over to make the play on him. Here comes Reed, right down the middle. Both safeties are downfield. Not a chance. Report on Mike Grimm, who was forced out on this series, a pinched nerve, and he may be able to return. I thought it was a nice recovery on the telestrator, Paul, but you don't have to smack it around. You don't have to get that physical. Well, when I try to draw it and they don't line up, they're like 2 inches apart, which means we won't use this very much. And it's Johnny Hector. Oh, what a hit. Johnny Hector taking a shot from Mark Pike, number 94, who has been a very strong special teams player for the Bills. 94 is Mark Pike coming in. Here comes Hector. Watch right at the 25. Hello. Kenneth Davis, number 23, is also there. The ball's at the 25. That's as far as they got. Mark Pike in his 5th season out of Georgia Tech. 55 seconds remaining first quarter. Jets and Bills tied at 7. And the Jets start out from the 25. Blair Thomas for a short pickup. Number 96, Leon Seals on the stop. There's Leon. Plagued by injuries last season. Fought through it. Played well. He's had a good one this year in his 5th season out of Jackson State. Cleveland extends to a 10-0 lead on Indianapolis. Miami and Tampa Bay now tied at 7. And we're knotted at 7 as we wind down in the first. Off the fake, O'Brien with a wide-open target. Again, the tight end, Mark Boyer. This time stopped by Mark Kelso, and Boyer goes for another 20 as this first quarter concludes. After 1 here at Rich Stadium in Buffalo, it's the Jets and the Bills tied at 7. Hey, that's called paying for creativity to get on television. Oh, you could do that too. You know, you go down to the store, buy the headline. Can I have my picture put in? Second quarter with you is underway. And the Jets first down from their 46. Jets and Bills tied at 7. Brad Baxter found a hole. Stopped by the combination of Shane Conlon and Cornelius Bennett. Well, in the first quarter, the Jets had the ball for 7:34, and the Bills for 7:26. You reflect back to week 3, the earlier meeting at Giant Stadium, where the Jets controlled the clock, outgained the Bills. Buffalo made the big plays and won it, but the Jets had the ball for 40 minutes. But when you're talking about Buffalo, time of possession has had no meaning at all because of the no huddle. Here's Blair Thomas. Stopped by Kirby Jackson. Marv Levy making the point yesterday that the Bills defy the normal statistics that usually relate to a winning team, referring to Buffalo's ranking of last in time of possession and their ineffective takeaway giveaway ratio.
When you mention takeaway giveaway to Marv Levy, it's one of the few times you'll see the little veins pop out in his neck. I mean, he really is livid about it because they are so bad at it, but yet they're 10-2 going into this game, and that's what's incredible.
McNeil and Hector in the backfield for this 3rd down and 4. And O'Brien going deep. It's broken up. Intended for Moore, and Odoms on the coverage. Odoms in a conversation with Moore.
He got a little help from Mark Kelso, number 38. Moore is going downfield. Nate Odoms, number 37, is covering. The pass is over the shoulder. Nate Odoms turns around, and I guess you're allowed to push a little bit. I mean, left arm push. Nate Odoms was there. I hope he's not complaining because he's interfered with.
Louis Aguiar with his 2nd punt of the day. First-year player out of Utah State. He had some tryouts with Buffalo back in 89 and 90.
That's interesting. The ball went out on the 28-yard line. Bad kick.
A 20-yard kick by Aguiar, who comes off a superb game last week. He's become a triple threat man. We'll be right back. Louis Aguiar, the Jet punter, not pleased with that 20-yard shank a moment ago. I mentioned he's emerged as a triple threat. Last week ran for 18 yards at a fake punt, threw a pass 2 weeks ago, even kicked a 51-yard field goal 2 weeks ago. Thurman Thomas with a short pickup. Kyle Clifton made the stop. A reminder that at the conclusion of today's game, we'll be presenting the Avis We Try Harder Award, which will be given to the game's MVP. On the subject of MVP, that is the goal of Thurman Thomas. Says he wants to be selected as the NFL's most valuable player this year. And it's Thomas on the reception.
When did he tell you that?
A couple minutes ago.
Yesterday when he didn't show up at our meeting. But again, when you talked at the beginning of the show about big play guys, he is the one man that makes this offense work more than anybody else because of his running ability, his pass catching ability, and you better be aware of where he is on the field at all times. And to cover him with the linebacker is kind of crazy.
He picked up the 1st down. Kelly is connected on his last 7 passing attempts. Lots of time as he fires deep. Mike Brim, who checked back in following the injury, along with Brian Washington on the coverage of James Lofton.
Well, Brim was there, but there are a whole lot of other folks down there also. Washington was there. McMillan was there. Brim is there. That ball had an awful lot of air under it. It was up for a long time.
2nd and 10. From the 39, Lofton is now to the left, Edwards to the right. And it is Thomas trying to stutter step. Clifton made the stop. Thurman Thomas in his 4th season out of Oklahoma State. He's made it to the Pro Bowl the last 2 years. And take a look at this. 1,192 yards coming into today for Thurman Thomas, and that is more than 12 other NFL teams. That's just Thurman we're talking about. 3rd down and 9. Sideline pattern is too high for Edwards. Again, the coverage by Brim.
Jim Kelly is upset with himself because he had Edwards out there one-on-one on Brim, and when Jim Kelly threw the ball, Marv, the ball almost went in an arc instead of going straight out to Edwards. It floated in and gave Brim enough time to get there. There was excellent coverage by Brim.
Now the punt unit back on. Here's Chris Moore. Back deep, Terrence Mathis. Moore will punt from his 25. Line drive. Mathis fields it. Nowhere to go. and hit down as he crossed the 15. It's a 47-yard punt by Moore. 11:58 remaining in the second. The Jets and Buffalo are tied at 7.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you friends know when to say when. By the new Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By Sharp Electronics Corporation. From sharp minds come sharp products. And by Imodium AD. For diarrhea, the choice for one-dose relief.
A 33-degree, cool, crisp day. Very nice day here in Buffalo. They say snow, perhaps some sleet, but much later, probably after the conclusion of the game. Jets starting out from their 17-yard line. O'Brien with a wide-open receiver in Al Toon. Nate Odoms, Darryl Talley downfield to make the stop, but that goes for 24. O'Brien is now 3 for 7. 2 of the completions to the tight end, Mark Boyer.
Here comes Toon down on Nate Odoms, but a play action in the backfield, and just Toon runs inside, breaks back to the outside. Now, I don't know whether Nate Odoms was thinking he might have help on the outside. He sure didn't. Toon runs an excellent route, and O'Brien hits him right on target.
Interesting matchup between Al Toon in his 7th year out of Wisconsin and Nate Odoms in his 5th season out of Wisconsin. Collegiate teammates. First down at the 42. Thomas, he had a running start, a burst by Blair Thomas. Darryl Talley and Bruce Smith combining to make the tackle, and we are set for an update. Let's go to our New York studios. Here's Bob Costas.
Marv, the Browns still harbor some slim wild card hopes. They've lost a lot of close games this year. They take the lead 10-0 at Indianapolis on this 3-yard flip from Kosar to Kevin Mack. Earlier, Matt Stover hit a 41-yard field goal. Browns 10, Colts zip.
Thank you, Bob. Second down and 5 as we resume here in Buffalo. Roger Duffy, a backup center, has reported in as an eligible receiver, wearing number 62. Back to the ground, though, for Thomas. And he has stopped a short pickup. Ray Bentley, in his 6th year out of Central Michigan, makes the tackle. Let's take a look at the Budweiser 10-minute ticker. Miami with a 10-7 lead in the second. Bob mentioned Cleveland 10-0 on Indianapolis, and Green Bay 14 and Atlanta 7 in the second. In the battle for the wild card positions in the AFC, if the season ended today, the Jets would be the AFC's 3rd wild card team. They have a 1-game lead over Miami and Seattle. 3rd down and 2. That's Toon in motion. Penalty flag is thrown. O'Brien could not find anyone. Bruce Smith with the sack and the celebration.
Well, what happened is Cornelius Bennett pointed to the offensive lineman and saying that he moved. Now, but what I'm thinking here is the official, look at it, that's a tight end down there. You can't come across it. Once he comes across, Cornelius Bennett just stays there. So they throw the flag. Now, I don't know what they're going to call it against. Now, here comes Bruce Smith. Criswell lets him go to the inside, and when he does that, O'Brien's standing back there. I blame that sack on O'Brien and not on Criswell, even though Bruce Smith makes the sack. But Cornelius Bennett comes across the line of scrimmage. The play should have been stopped because he touches the tight end, Boyer. Once you touch him, man, watch what Cornelius Bennett does. When you touch him right there, now this play dies right here. It should stop. It should have never taken place. Now Bennett is complaining that the tackle or the tight end moved. But remember, the tight end can get set.
Encroachment, number 97 on the defense. Prior to the snap, there was no play. It's still 3rd down.
Now, there can't be a play. I guess with all the noise, that there's no way that the players can hear. Now, Cornelius Bennett can end up getting 15 yards more he doesn't get out of the face of the official.
I think the referee, Stan Camp, who was explaining the penalty, and maybe picking that up, was very compassionate in not throwing another flag because Cornelius Bennett was in his face.
And it becomes first down for the Jets, but this play was blown dead. There was no play, so obviously no sack for Bruce Smith.
The Bills have been called on 3 penalties today, all on the defensive unit. Bruce Smith playing only his 2nd game of the season, looking for his first sack of the year, and that one was erased. First down for the Jets at the Buffalo 45. Baxter peels off. Good play action, and O'Brien able to complete for a first down. Al Toon with a nice move following the reception, and he goes for 17. Bennett and Kelso combine to make the stop.
I'm getting a feeling because I watched Nate Odoms on one side, and now you see on the other side Kirby Jackson, that the corners and safeties are looking back in the backfield. Al Toon was wide open. Bentley, number 50, is trying to get there. Kelso finally makes the play along with Cornelius Bennett. But that play action by O'Brien is freezing not only the linebackers, but it's also holding corners and safeties.
First down at the Buffalo 27. Game tied at 7. 8.5 remaining first half. Nothing for Blair Thomas. Met by Seals and Bentley. And we're set for another update. Let's go back to Bob.
And Marv, it's Kevin Mack again at the Hoosier Dome. This caps a 98-yard Cleveland drive. Once he gets by the line of scrimmage, I would say it's relatively clear sailing. 17-0 Cleveland over the Colts at the Hoosier Dome. Marvelous.
All right, Bob, 2nd and 11 at the 28, and it's been a very quiet start for Blair Thomas. 7 carries, only 10 yards for Thomas, who did break out last week against San Diego. Baxter tried the right side and picked up a couple. That's it. Shane Conlon right there to make the tackle.
3 very active linebackers. Shane Conlon, Darryl Talley, and Ray Bentley. 58, 56, and 50 were all in on that play, helped make it a play. It only gained about 2 yards. But that shows that you have the linebackers close to the line of scrimmage. Play action is going to work for O'Brien.
Shane Conlon in his 5th year out of Penn State. He leads the Bills with 104 total tackles. 7th play on a drive that began back at the 17. And Baxter with the opening. Rather, Thomas on the carry down inside the 15.
What a super play, because you're going right now on the Buffalo Bills defense to the left of the screen. Take a look at it. The excellent block by the center, Sweeney, on Jeff Wright, number 91. And then Blair Thomas just cuts it back to the inside. Buffalo Bills expecting pass. The Jets cross them up with a run. Nice run by Thomas, his best of the day.
First down at the 15. 6:20 remaining. First half. Now Freeman McNeil has come on. And it is McNeil. Freeman McNeil, the Jets' all-time leading rusher. He's averaging just under 7 yards per carry. He was stopped by Conlon and Bentley.
Nice part about this drive, the Jets keeping the ball away from that potent Buffalo Bill offense and in a position to score at least 3. Now they're in the red zone 44 out of 54 times.
Second down and 5. 80, the tight end, Boyer in motion. Baxter makes the turn, and a submarine out of bounds near the marker. Kirby Jackson made the stop. And we'll have to see where they spot the ball. Seeing Freeman McNeil run just a moment ago reminds me of the conversation we had last night with Blair Thomas, who told us that Freeman has been so helpful to him. And we asked anything in particular that Freeman has suggested. He said, yes, Freeman urged him to get a massage 2 or 3 times a week, which has relaxed him and has contributed to his feeling fresher. That, of course, brought wise guy questions from you concerning was it a masseuse or a masseur? Well, yes.
Well,
Jets pick up the first now. They have a first and goal. Baxter. The nose tackle, Jeff Wright, combining with the outside linebacker, Cornelius Bennett.
Bruce Smith was the first guy in the backfield that made the hit. He gets across the line of scrimmage. Number 78 is Bruce Smith. Watch this. He's the man that gets the first hit. Chris Wall is there, but here's Bruce Smith. Gets an arm on, helps out with Baxter, and then his teammates help out.
And number 46 is Bruce Smith to the sideline. Trevor Maddich now in as a tight end. Second and goal from the 3. O'Brien crossing up the Bills. But Kirby Jackson may have gotten a piece of it. It was intended for Chris Burkett.
Well, Kirby Jackson, what a super play by Kirby Jackson. Burkett is open. Kirby Jackson does get a hand on it. Here's Burkett to the inside. Kirby Jackson, with his arm up, knocks the ball away. You got to look at this play one more time. O'Brien has to look at it one more time to say, if I go back to the left-hand side and run the same play action or come back to the right, now they're throwing 3 wide receivers over here. But that same formation, they'd have had a tight end open. Bills call a timeout.
12th play of the drive is coming up. Kirby Jackson, a former Jet, going against Chris Burkett, a former Bill. When we resume, it'll be 3rd and goal from the 3.
Well, first of all, the reason the Bills called timeout, they only had 10 men on the field. But the other reason is this. Here they are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all wide receivers. The Jets came out with 5 wide receivers. The Bills only had 10 men. Here they are again. 5 wide receivers in the game.
Unusual alignment on the left side of the field. Look out. Penalty flag is down.
Leonard Smith, number 46, was offside. So they'll get half the distance to the goal line. They'll put the ball on the 2. Number 46 is blitzing and was offside on the play.
Well, this is a drive that has gone close to 8 minutes.
On the left-hand side of the screen, right over in here, I can't reach all the way over there with this guy, but that's Leonard Smith, 46. I can't get all the way over there. There he is. He's offside. He's in the backfield. But O'Brien almost breaks us for the touchdown. Cornelius Bennett makes the save, number 97, to save the touchdown.
Paul showing no extension,
offsides,
no wingspan.
Number 46 on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat 3rd down.
And that is the strong safety, Leonard Smith. 4th penalty called on Buffalo today, all on the defensive unit. And this is a drive that was kept alive by the offsides on Cornelius Bennett that negated the sack by Bruce Smith.
Now the Jets are back with their road grader offense. Trevor Maddich, 46, is reported in. He's the tight end.
And Freeman McNeil is back in. 3rd and goal from the 1. Here's Baxter. He stopped. Gary Boldinger, in his 5th year out of Wake Forest, combining with Shane Conlon to make the hit.
They just stuff everything back to the inside. 92 is Boldinger, 58 is Shane Conlon, 50 is Bentley. They make the play. Now they're going to kick the field goal. Put some points on the board.
It is a 4th and goal at the 2, and Pat Leahy, who is 22 for 31, will attempt from 19 yards away. Pat Leahy has had his ups and downs this season, mostly from long range, and this one he drills through. So with 3:01 remaining in the first half, the Jets now leading Buffalo 10-7. Now Bruce Coslett and Marv Levy apparently softened their stance in recent days. You get the idea, though, Paul, they're not particularly fond of one another, but they were quiet this week. You'll recall after the earlier meeting back in week 3, Coslett was upset that Levy indicated he thought Jet players were faking injuries to slow down the Bills' no-huddle attack, and they went at each other pretty good that week following that first meeting. And the kickoff by Aguiar. Here is the pop fly, and it is handled by Butch Roll, and then Jets and Bills try to get at each other, and a flag has been thrown. We mentioned that the Jets' intent was to pop one up for Pete Metzelaars, and of course Buffalo, in seeing the films from last week, well aware of what might happen for a changeup, and Roll and the former Bill, Chris Burkett, get involved. A little right-hand slant by Butch.
Well, Butch Roll threw a left jab first, hit him in the throat, and Chris wasn't happy, said a few things to him about their massage they're going to have later on. Because if it works for Blair Thomas, it's got to work for these guys.
The massage, huh?
Oh, sure. Once you start throwing punches, you got to go get a workout. And then Butch Roll slammed him in the head with the ball. But it starts with Roll. Watch Butch Roll's left hand. 87 is Burkett. Roll reaches out, boink. Little shot to the neck. Now he hits him in the head with the ball. This is cute. Ding.
And the call is against Buffalo.
Number 87 on the offensive team, half the distance to the goal, first down.
You know, talk about dumb mistakes. You're down by 3 points. You've got almost 3 minutes to go in the half. You have 2 timeouts, and you get the ball in excellent field position around the 30-yard line, and you do something dumb.
Marv Levy not pleased. Buffalo starting out from its 15. Kelly in trouble. Lageman strips the ball.
Kelly's hurt.
The Jets indicate they have recovered. It looks to be James Hasty, and Kelly comes up hobbling.
Jeff Lageman, boy, are you right, Marv? He never quit. Number 56 came from the backside, and Kelly is limping now. Here it comes. Watch Lageman. He comes. He never stops, and Kelly is now waiting for a receiver to break either back to him or downfield. Lageman strips. James Hasty, number 40, comes in, makes the recovery. It is now first down for the Jets at the 15-yard line. But look at Lageman not quitting. The intensity of that man is incredible. Strips the ball. Now Kelly goes down. He landed on his knee. Hasty gets the ball. Harold Ballard, he weighs about 350 pounds. Carroll, you think he's happy?
Defensive coordinator Pete Carroll celebrating on the sack by Lageman. And the run by Blair Thomas with 2:41 remaining in this first half. Run out by Carlton Valley. It'll set up a 2nd and 1. And there is Frank Reich warming up, getting ready just in case.
Oh, Jim Kelly wouldn't even put the jacket on. He's walking, he's stretching. We've seen him, we saw him in Milwaukee. I mean, it's going to take a lot to get him out of the football game. That's number 1. But I would really be surprised to see Frank Reich in a game. Kelly will be back.
It's a 2nd and 1. Down at the 5. Moore in motion. O'Brien. It is picked off by Kirby Jackson. And a flag is thrown.
Now, they threw a flag at Bruce Smith after the play when he hits O'Brien, but I think it's after the interception. O'Brien has no business throwing the ball. Bruce Smith is the cause of O'Brien throwing the ball away. Bruce Smith forces the play. Makes a move to the inside. There's Bruce Smith. O'Brien goes out, throws the ball away. Now, after this play, they throw a flag at Bruce Smith. There's Kirby Jackson backing off. Rob Moore's in the end zone. The heat is on. Really no business of throwing this football. If you're going to throw it anywhere, a second and short yardage, throw it away. Irv Eatman in on the tackle. But then there was a flag afterwards.
Tripping, number 78 on the intercepting team. The penalty occurred on the run back, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Not only does he hit O'Brien and falls on him, but as O'Brien is getting up, he gets called for tripping. All right, Bruce Smith making his move to the inside. O'Brien's running the ball. He forces the throw. Jackson gets it. Now here's Bruce Smith on the ground. Well, it's over on the left, and the tripping is on Bruce Smith after O'Brien got up.
And Jim Kelly able to hang in, but he's in trouble. Gets it away. Almost intercepted. Kyle Clifton had a shot at it. The pass intended for Andre Reed. That interception by Kirby Jackson, his 4th of the season.
First of all, Kelly is moving all right. I said he'd be back in the game. He almost gets sacked by Dennis Byrd in the end zone. Kelly gets the ball away, and then it's almost intercepted on top of it. But they'll throw from down here.
And now the pass handled by Edwards. And again, a flag is down, and Kelly and Dennis Byrd involved in a discussion.
They're going to call roughing the passer, which is a 15-yard penalty against Kelly, or against Byrd, hitting Kelly. Dennis was in his face again. This was just a quick pass to the outside. There's no way the defensive lineman can get there. Here it comes. There's Byrd. He knocks the hands down. Kelly's already thrown the ball, and then he's whacked. But Mercereau actually knocks Kelly down, and they get, if it's on Byrd, it's for throwing an elbow.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 94 on the defense.
They call it on Mercereau and not on Byrd.
Automatic first down. 2-minute warning.
Scott Mercereau is on the right-hand side of your screen. Here he comes. The ball is thrown. Mercereau hits Kelly. That's a tough call.
And we have 2 minutes remaining in a wild first half. Bruce Coslin and his New York Jets leading the Buffalo Bills 10-7 with 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Kelly going sideline and has a first down. Al Edwards has been the primary receiver for Buffalo in this first half. That's his 6th catch for 47 yards. Run out by Tony Stargell. So the Bills in their 2-minute drill, they now have a first down at their 38. Kelly goes the other side, and it's jarred loose. Lofton with the reception. Let's see if they call it a catch and a fumble or incomplete. Mike Brim made the hit.
They're saying Lofton got the ball back. It was a catch, a hit, a fumble, and Lofton got the ball back. Here is the outside. Brim is there. The ball comes down. The ball comes out. I don't know if that's a catch. But then Lofton somehow gets the ball back.
And it's a 2nd down and 5, and Kelly unleashes for Lofton. Covered by Tony Stargell.
Well, you have 2 receivers downfield. You have Lofton and Reed, 83 and 80, downfield. You have Stargell and Washington also downfield. Here's Stargell. Just to the right of these guys. Here they come. Here comes Reed and Washington into the play. I don't think they're both supposed to be in the same spot.
Now Steve Tasker has come on as a receiver for this 3rd down and 5. Short range pop to Thomas. And he has the first down.
They'll still have 2 timeouts, and they're going to take one right here with 1 minute and 8 seconds left to go.
It'll be a first down at the 49 when we come back. Coming up at halftime, NFL Live, the Domino Pizza NFL Live with Bob Costas, Will McDonough, Bill Parcells, O.J. Simpson. Bill Parcells will be taking a close-up look at instant replay. Not on the National Hockey League, Paul. He's dealing.
You had a bad call the other night. The Ranger-Sabre game.
I had a bad call?
Well, by the official, it had a bad.
First down at midfield. Penalty flag is thrown, and it is almost intercepted. James Hasty had a shot at it.
That time Jim Kelly tried to force the ball in to Andre Reed. The Jets were offside, but James Hasty played it perfectly and almost had the interception. Wouldn't have made any difference. Again, there'd been a 5-yard penalty. Could have run it all over the place. They're bringing it back. But that's the one criticism of Jim Kelly. He will sometimes try to force the ball in, and that's having too much confidence in your arm.
But you see that with so many of the outstanding quarterbacks.
You do. I mean, they'll take a chance.
They feel they can do it. It's a first down and 5. Kelly with the sideline pass intended for Reed. Only one catch in the first half for Andre Reed. He was covered by James Hasty. 59 seconds to go in the half. Marv Albert with Paul McGuire from Buffalo, New York. Capacity crowd, better than 80,000 on hand as we check out the scoreboard. Miami extending to a 24-7 lead on Tampa Bay. Look at Cleveland, 31-0 on the Colts. All the scores and highlights coming up at halftime. Second down and 5. Completed to the tight end, Keith McKellar. Right at the marker.
He's got the first down. McKellar. Now you're looking at 43 seconds and counting, and there's only one timeout left for the Bills. They want to get into field goal range to tie this up.
Kelly getting things organized quickly and then goes to the other side. Edwards tries to get out of bounds, and he does.
Mike Brim almost makes a costly error. What happens on the outside? When they throw a pass on the outside, watch Brim. You must make the tackle. Keep the receiver between you and the goal line and make sure that he does not get by you. Hasty was over to make the play, but Brim almost made a critical mistake.
Al Edwards out of Northwest Louisiana State with a career-high 7 receptions. Kelly throwing intended for Reed. He was covered by Hasty, and the clock is stopped with 25 seconds remaining in this first half. It's the Jets 10 and the Bills 7. It'll be a second down and 10 for Buffalo at the Jet 29-yard line.
And that secondary of the Jets, they're tired. They're running all over the place. And the receivers are also tired.
11th play of the drive. Kelly just throws one out there for Thomas. And a flag is down. A floater tossed up with Brim at Washington on the coverage.
There could have been a fair catch. That ball will look like a punt. And Washington was there, had enough time to get back and knock the ball away. Lageman went off for a play.
Number 95 on the defense, lining up in the neutral zone. It's still second down.
95, huh?
No, the Jets do not have a number 95. At any rate, it's a second and 5 at the 24. And Kelly completes again. Mo Lewis covering Al Edwards. And that is catch number 8 by Edwards, who is seeing the action in the absence of the injured Don Beebe. And Edwards has been the receiving star. 8 catches, 68 yards. Last week against New England, he had 4 receptions. Usually the Bills kick off and punt return specialist. 14 seconds remaining. Kelly looking end zone. Kelly on the roll, throwing. Intended for Andre Reed.
Andre Reed was open, and he's going across the end zone. Here comes Andre Reed. James Hasty is there, number 40. He releases him inside. Washington 48 is there. Kyle Clifton 59 is there. Now Reed goes back across. He's open. Kelly just overthrows him. Stargell wasn't close. In that picture, it looked close, but he wasn't. Now they're going to kick the field goal, the Bills.
And Scott Norwood will attempt from 31 yards out with 8 seconds remaining in a 2nd and 10 situation. He's hit his last 8. Wright will put it down. And Norwood has tied it at 10. We're down to 4 seconds remaining in the first half. Next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern Time, NFL Live. A look at a couple of pretty fair running backs out of Oklahoma State. Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas, who will be among those featured in our doubleheader action. NBC. Welcome back to Buffalo. Marv Albert with Paul McGuire, and the game is tied at 10 apiece. In fact, we look back at week number 3 when these two clubs met, and at halftime it was same score, 10-10. The big surprise, though, Paul, in the first half, wide receiver Al Edwards playing for the injured Don Beebe. 8 catches, 69 yards in the first half.
You know, yesterday we talked to Pete Carroll, the defensive coordinator of the Jets, and asked him, you know, what are the Bills lacking with Beebe out of the game? He said nothing, absolutely nothing. Edwards just came right in, picked up the tempo, 8 catches. But the other thing is, too, let's be honest about it, he's being covered one-on-one on the outside. Brim is giving him a little bit of a cushion. Mike Brim, number 43. It's enabling Kelly to look out to the outside, sees that one-on-one coverage, and finds Edwards, and boom.
And a good half for Kelly, 16 for 26, while O'Brien only 4 for 10 for 84 yards. 2 interceptions. Ken O'Brien coming into today intercepted only 6 times for the season.
It was really surprising to see O'Brien throw that interception before the half. But Bruce Smith was in his face, you know, rushing him. And, you know, it's easy for us sitting up here. Here's a guy running for his life, and bang, he has to throw the ball away.
Well, let's take a look at the Coors halftime statistics, and you'll note time of possession once again in favor of the Jets, but as always, it's what you do with the ball when you have it.
Yeah, it's one of the most bogus stats, I think.
A bogus
stat. The only one, according to Marv Levy, is give away, heck away. But, you know, time of possession is true. It's what you do with that time. And they only got 10 points out of it. The Jets, the Bills, out of there for time of possession, they also have 10.
And the kickoff by Brad DeLuiso. Johnny Hector on the return. So the second half is underway as Hector gets out to the 20-yard line on the superb special teams player Steve Tasker with the tackle of Johnny Hector. Here he is, number 89.
Mr. All-Pro special teams guy. Tasker, watch him. He comes down under control. He knows he's going to try to get blocked by Freeman McNeil. Gets away from him, makes the tackle. That's why he goes to the Pro Bowl.
The New York Jets with a record of 7-5, coming off a win over San Diego at home. They've won 4 of the last 5, 6 of the last 8. Good play action, and O'Brien completes to the tight end, Dressel. It is only a short pickup. Kirby Jackson on the stop of Chris Dressel. There's Kirby Jackson, a 5th-round draft pick of the Jets back in '87. Also spent some time with the Rams before signing with Buffalo. Came up with an interception in the first half to make it 4 for the season. 2nd down and 7. Jets go double tight end with Boyer and Dressel. 85 more in motion. On the draw, it is Thomas. A short pickup. Bruce Smith and Shane Conlon involved on the stop.
Bruce Smith beats Jeff Criswell. He gets into the backfield. Bruce Smith is 78. Watch this. Once he gets through, now back to the inside and makes the tackle. Criswell was there along with Cadigan. You have 2 guys and you can't block them. You're going to try and get some help from a running back.
It'll be a 3rd down and 4 at the 27. Jets now have Criswell and Eatman at the tackles, Cadigan and White at the guards, and Sweeney is the center. Mike Haight started the game, went most of the first half. Freeman McNeil made the catch, but was immediately hit by the rookie Henry Jones, and he is kept away from the first down marker. So the Jets will be forced to give it up.
Well, Cornelius Bennett, number 97, was in O'Brien's face. No one blocked him. And that's why O'Brien had to dump the ball as quick as he had to Freeman McNeil.
That is Clifford Hicks back deep awaiting the Aguiar punt. Punt return game for the Bills has not been one of their strong points. Earlier in the season with Al Edwards, who had some difficulties. And Hicks on the return. Smothered out at the 43-yard line. Burkett on the stop, 37-yard punt. And a 7-yard return by number 27, Clifford Hicks. Kelly came up hobbling late in the second quarter, but able to hang in. And he enters this third quarter of play, 16 of 26. And he threw a touchdown, his 27th of the season.
Well, you know, when you look at the play selection, they like to keep it even balanced. But today, 28% of the time they're running the ball. That's not enough.
First down at the 43. Back to the run for Thomas. Marvin Washington, who has had an excellent season, made the stop on Thurman Thomas, who has now run for 37 yards on 10 carries. There's Washington in his third year out of Idaho, 6th round draft pick back in '89. Second down and 7. And Kelly's pass caught by Lofton, and he was inbounds.
This ball was actually thrown by Kelly to Lofton before he made the cut. Watch Lofton comes out to the outside. The ball was already in the air, and you see him make that last-ditch effort to get the ball. He catches it. The ball is a catch, and it'll stay a catch because his hand was underneath the ball.
First down for Buffalo. Straight ahead comes Thurman Thomas. He broke a tackle. Gorgeous run by Thomas. Hauled down by McMillan. And Hasty in a very sharp-looking drive developing for Buffalo.
Watch Thurman Thomas, the moves he makes. There's one there. Now one back to the inside. Now he's open. So he makes two moves. One to the inside, one to the outside, and then down the field.
He went for 15. Thomas on the reverse. Once again, it is Andre Reed. And he was stopped by Marvin Washington in the first half. The Bills went to the reverse with Reed, had more success than they did right here.
The next time they run that reverse, it'll be with a pass because it hasn't worked very well. Ted Marchibroda, the offensive coordinator, on the right. Marv Levy on the left.
Second down and 9. Kelly, incomplete, intended for McKellar, covered by the outside linebacker, Mo Lewis.
Well, there's a throw to Keith McKellar, number 84, the tight end, who wasn't beyond the first down marker. He was actually about 3 yards short, and then Kelly tried to force it in because McKellar was covered.
Buffalo with a 3rd and 9 from the 26. Kelly able to stand in. It is incomplete. Lofton took the hit from behind. Crowd wanted a call on Tony Stargell, but they will not get it.
They will get the call, and there's another flag upfield by where Kelly was, but they won't get the call on Stargell, and you've got to believe that the fans in this case is right. Watch this. Here's 45 Stargell. Is he there before the ball gets there? Watch it, watch it. Yes, he is. This should have been pass interference on Stargell.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 94 on the defense, 15 yards, first down.
This is the second one for Mercereau. Now here's Kelly, throws the ball, but see, he cuts his legs out from underneath him after he throws the ball, going for his knees, and Kelly said, what, are you crazy?
Well, yesterday in our conversation with several Buffalo players, they pointed out that there are a couple of players on the Jets that they're very leery of in that type of situation.
They didn't name him.
There's Thomas picking his way inside the 10-yard line. Clifton and Piquel making the stop.
No, it's interesting on that last play, though, that Kelly gets roughing the passer after he throws the ball. And it could have been pass interference downfield, so it was just.
2nd and 6. Down at the 9. 8th play of the drive. Thomas danced his way for a couple, but knocked down by Kyle Clifton. 5 minutes gone by in the third. We're at Rich Stadium in Buffalo, where the Bills have won 16 straight at home, 31 of their last 33 over the last 4 years. And overall, against the Jets, they have won the last 8 meetings. 3rd down and 4. The cadence apparently pulled the Jets offside, and it's almost picked off by Mike Grimm, the pass intended for James Lofton.
Well, you got offside on the Jets. Then you got James Lofton getting his teeth rattled because Grimm, as the ball goes through his hands, it hit Lofton right smack in the face mask. Now, you're only going to get half the distance down here. And I'm going to tell you, you know what's really bad is that only, like, the offense is half the distance to the goal line. But if the offense gets a penalty,
number 56 on the defense, this is a half the distance penalty, and it may result in a first down. We will measure.
Lagerman's off, he gets back, tries to get back, but they already threw the flag on him. See, there's a half the distance penalty here. But if the Bills get a holding penalty, it'll be a 15-yard penalty back the other way. So they really get cheated out of some yardage. I don't like the call, but there's not much you can do about it.
Paul, I think that's a halftime feature down the road.
Yeah, well, later on, Bill Parcells may want to pick up on it. I don't know. Costas won't understand it, but Parcells does. No, he won't. Bobby won't. But now, you know, then Lofton gets hit in the mouth with the ball. Grimm almost had the interception again. It would have been for naught. Watch this. Watch Lofton. Watch where the ball hits Lofton. Through the arms. Bang. I mean, that'll... What was that?
And they have measured. It appears to be just short. It will be a 3rd and inches down at the 3. Carwell Gardner and Kenneth Davis now in the Buffalo backfield.
Well, Kenneth Davis is really a straight-ahead runner. There's nothing fancy about Kenneth Davis, number 23. Watch this, straight ahead.
And straight ahead to the end zone.
Again, Marv, they just don't make any bones about it, the Buffalo Bills. When Kenneth Davis comes in the backfield, he's going straight ahead. You better line up and play football. Thurman Thomas will do a little dancing, make some moves left and right, but not Kenneth Davis, number 23. He goes right at you.
In his 6th year out of Texas Christian, had a good one against New England last week. He's averaging 5.5 yards per carry. Just scored his 2nd touchdown of the season. And Norwood adds the extra point. So the Buffalo Bills have taken a 17-10 lead on the New York Jets off this 4-yard touchdown run by Kenneth Davis.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Honda, who puts a driver's airbag on every new Accord, Civic, and Prelude and urges you to buckle up. By Magnavox, smart choices for smart people. The ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart. By Coors Light, the silver bullet is the right beer now. And by Hertz, we never forget who made us number 1. We're Hertz, we're America's wheels.
The Bills won 8 plays, 57 yards in 3 minutes and 13 seconds. And now lead 17-10 is Brad DeLuisa, the kickoff specialist. Puts it in play. Johnny Hector on the return and stumbles his way across the 30-yard line. Mark Pike on the stop. And this has been an intensely played game. Playoff-style atmosphere. We'll be right back.
when you look at percentages and people, you know, we talked about time of possession doesn't mean anything to what you do with it, but just take a look at that bottom line, the defensive line. With Bruce Smith back, 18% of the tackles are made by the defensive line during the season. With him back, what happens again is for two people block him, there's one-on-one on the rest of the defensive linemen.
Jets take over from their 31 with 9:14 remaining in the third quarter. Jets trailing Buffalo 17-10. Play action did not work. O'Brien had nowhere to go. Jeff Wright, the nose tackle, covered up, and he now has 5.5 sacks for the season.
The man who makes the sack is Bruce Smith, 78. Criswell, watch this. They come around. There's O'Brien, and then he's going to hit Cornelius Bennett. Wing. Cornelius said, I was going direct right for a while, and then I took a hard left for some reason or other.
First sack of the day by Buffalo. 2 were negated by penalties. It's a second down and 17. And O'Brien now with the time fires one incomplete. And a flag thrown intended for Al Toon. Let's check out the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Well, Cleveland with a 31-0 lead on Indianapolis. Miami has extended 27-7. Green Bay leads Atlanta 21-14. A Miami victory would put them at 7-6. And if the Jets lose today, they would drop to 7-6 as they vie for a wild card.
On the defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
And that Nate Odoms, number 37, called for the penalty.
There's a man that's not happy. All right, Al Toon is coming out. Nate Odoms throws him down, and that's holding, pulling Toon down, and it got caught. You see the flag coming out there. There's one rule that we've been watching this year, and that's that illegal chuck after 5 yards, and they rarely call it.
Al Toon has 6 inches on Nate Odoms. First down at the 29. Oh, what a catch! Al Toon extending to make the reception in front of Odoms.
Toon, it's hard to believe that Al Toon does not have a touchdown. Their leading pass receiver, well, look what play action does. Play action just freezes the linebackers, and now you have Toon on Nate Odoms downfield one-on-one. The play to the inside, total concentration. 2 Wisconsin gentlemen going at it.
And that good for 19 yards, 3 catches, 62 yards on the day for Toon. Here's a sweep for Thomas. And down he goes, hauled down by Cornelius Bennett.
There's a different move by Cornelius Bennett, 97. First of all, he's trying to be blocked by Boyer on the outside. Cornelius gets rid of the linebacker, reaches in. Thomas goes down, and then he has this little...
Was that it?
That's kind of like you're down. Not out, but just down.
Blair Thomas, only 31 yards on 11 carries. Second and 13 at the 45. And O'Brien goes up top, intended for Moore. Covered by Odoms. Rob Moore has been held in check to this point, has not come up with a catch, and it looks like Bruce Smith was shaken up.
He took his helmet off, and they're calling for the trainers to come out. Let's see what happens. Here's Bruce Smith on the outside. Block is there. Excellent block by Criswell on Bruce Smith. He got hit in the eye.
And those are not chants of Bruce. He's hearing some boos from the crowd. Bruce Smith, who has had 3 tackles for the day, obviously took a shot in the eye. Bruce making his return today. He did play in one other game in Chicago earlier this season, late September, and told us yesterday he regretted that he forced the issue, that he gave it a shot against the Bears. Mike Lodish has come on for Bruce Smith.
The other thing, too, is Bruce Smith, when he came back, did not put a brace on his knee, just taped it up. So obviously the knee is fine. He just got hit in the eye.
McNeil and Hector now in the backfield for this third down, 13 from the 45. And O'Brien throws one away. Intended for more, but a flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
Leon Seals, he's now a referee. He's calling holding.
Illegal motion at the snap indicated against the Jets. Marv Levy in his 5th full season, head coach of the Bills.
Number 69 on the offense. The penalty is declined.
Call is on Jeff Criswell, the left tackle. And the Bills about to check out the status of Bruce Smith. It's a 4th and 13, and Aguiar has come on to punt to Hicks. It is the 4th punt of the day for Louis Aguiar. 7:04 remaining. In the 3rd, the Jets are down by 7. And fair catch called by Clifford Hicks on a 40-yard punt by Aguiar. We'll be back in a moment. New York Jets defensive coordinator Pete Carroll, one-time coach of the Bills defensive backs back here in 1984, named very much in the spotlight this week. Buffalo starting out from its 14. Jets director of player personnel Ron Wolf was hired by Green Bay earlier in the week as general manager. Here's Thomas. Stopped by Clifton and Bird. And there was speculation that Pete Carroll would be a leading candidate to be head coach at Green Bay. Pete in that category of a hot assistant coach. During the offseason, his name figures to pop up quite frequently, but he told us feels it's unfair to Lindy Infante. Kelly completes, and then it's coughed up, picked off by Eric McMillan. McMillan twisting his way inside the 10.
This ball was tipped before Edwards knocks the ball up in the air, but the ball is tipped. Edwards makes a nice play on the ball because it's tipped back to the outside. Then he hits the ball up in the air with his hand. McMillan is there to make the play. He gets a good block downfield, but watch this move. Little pivot to the inside. That's McKellar, and then finally Andre Reed makes the play. And you think Pete Carroll, the man you were just talking about, is not happy? He wants him to score in the end zone.
Enormous break for the Jets. Eric McMillan, who is starting in place of the injured Lonnie Young, continues to be a big play man. So McMillan on the interception goes 33 yards. The Jets in position at 1st and goal, down at the 6. And it's to the ground for Baxter. Finishing the thought on Pete Carroll, he told us that he feels it's unfair to Lindy Infante, and he feels that Ron Wolf will keep Lindy as head coach because Wolf knows that Infante is a good football man, and Infante also lost his quarterback, Don Mikowski. Players have been all over Pete Carroll during the week about the rumors. No truth to the report that he took that shot under the right eye from Lindy Infante.
Basketball's a tough sport, you know.
Yes, plays a lot of basketball. Here's O'Brien going short. Big rush by Bennett. The pass intended for Blair Thomas.
If you're going to hold the Buffalo defense, what you must do is run at him. Don't try this stuff with Cornelius Bennett down on the goal line. He is there. But the Blair Thomas, the pass O'Brien tried to throw to the outside to Blair Thomas. Mark Kelso, number 38, read it perfectly. They ran one play and they gained 2 yards, the Jets. Then it went back to play action passes. Now we're looking at 5 wide receivers again. Nobody in the backfield with O'Brien.
Jets went to this alignment in the first half. 3rd and goal at the 5. And O'Brien tried to run it in. Couldn't find anyone. And then saw the opening, but that was closed by Bruce Smith and Henry Jones. And the Jets are held, and now the field goal unit will come on.
It's the same play they ran before, which is a quarterback draw. But you only have is Dale Dawkins in the backfield to block for you. Watch this. O'Brien, there's no place to go. The defense plays it smartly. You spread it out, but you should at least have a back there to run the ball.
23-yard attempt for Leahy, who earlier hit from 19. 5:07 remaining in the third. And Buffalo now leads the Jets by the score of 17-13. Bruce Smith took a poke in the eye earlier. Very novel approach. Looked like he took a beverage, I'm not sure what it was, Paul, and put a solution to his eye. New medical practice being handled by Smith.
Water on the eyeball.
Edwards and Davis are back. And again, a short kick by Aguiar. Number 85, Al Edwards, has had an exceptional day as a receiver with 8 catches and 69 yards. We're set for another update. Let's go to Bob.
Marv, we just wanted to let your viewers know that Lawrence Taylor is inactive for the game today. The Giants are playing in Cincinnati, a late start. They'll kick off at 4 o'clock Eastern time. This is only the second game that Taylor has missed in his long career because of injury. He has missed others because of suspensions and various other reasons, but this is only his second miss because of injury. Marv?
All right, Bob, 5:01 remaining in the third here in Buffalo as Kelly throws. Nice catch by Thomas. One-hand grab by Thurman Thomas. Run out by Mike Grimm. Let's check out the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Miami with a 30-7 lead on Tampa Bay. Cleveland gunning for a record of 6-7, which would put them in the wild card hunt. So Thurman getting the call on first down. Stopped by the middle linebacker, Kyle Clifton.
I was just down there watching Andre Reed get out of the way of Thurman Thomas. He couldn't make the block on Washington, so he just tried to avoid hitting Thurman Thomas.
Second down 5 at the 30. Off the swing, it is knocked down. Lageman able to get a piece of it.
Lageman almost intercepted the ball. He had both hands on the ball and hits him right in the hands. Jim Kelly trying to guide the ball in on the outside, and Lageman was there. Here it comes. Watch Lageman. Hits him right in the hands. Nice play by the defense.
It is a 3rd and 5. Buffalo with Will Wolford, Howard Ballard at the tackles, Jim Richard, Glenn Parker at the guards. Parker for the injured Davis, and Kent Hull is the center. Kelly goes incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Keith McKellar. And Jim Kelly checking his hand.
Bobby Houston, number 55, is putting the pressure. Watch Houston come to the outside, then up the middle. They get more heat. And Kelly really had nowhere to throw the football, and the Jets hold the Bills to 4 and out.
So it brings on Chris Moore in his first year with the Buffalo Bills by way of the Montreal machine of the WLAF. Mathis is back and calls for the fair catch out of the 29. A 41-yard punt by Moore. So with 4:12 remaining in this third quarter, the Jets take over. They're trailing Buffalo 17-13. A reminder, next Saturday, a test of human endurance coming to NBC Sports. The world's top triathletes will attempt the grueling Gatorade Ironman Triathlon, a 2.5-mile swim, 112-mile bike trek, and Paul, a full marathon. Triathlon. Witness the agony and the ecstasy of the Gatorade Ironman Triathlon. Next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern Time here on NBC.
That's my kind of event.
Right. Jets from the 29. O'Brien with the give to Thomas.
Blair Thomas, the ball
And he is
carrier.
stonewalled by Cornelius Bennett. We had a chat with Blair Thomas
Second and 6.
yesterday afternoon. He told us he felt the criticism he received in the media in the New York area was unfair. He feels he hasn't been in a slump, has not been able to get much going here this afternoon. He says each week he grades out so well. The coaches grade the players in terms of blocking and in terms of their all-around play, but the fans and media react to rushing yardage, in particular when you're a high first-round draft pick. Now, last week had the good game against the Chargers, and people around the league feel that he is a sure shot. It's pointed out he's only in his second season. Penalty marker down as Blair Thomas carries short of the first down. Leonard Smith and Mark Kelso combined to make the stop.
And the Jets are backing up. One thing that Blair Thomas was talking, I asked him because last week was his first 2, as you mentioned, rushing touchdowns. And he said one of the things that's really misleading about it is that when they get into the red zone, inside the 10, 15-yard line, he's not in the football game. They go to the bigger backs, and they try to power to the end zone. So when he scores the touchdown, he has to do it from 20 yards or
Number
better.
79, offense, 10 yards, repeat second down.
Mike Haight called for the penalty. Well, that's a valid point. The same with Toon, who has not been receiving the opportunities down at the goal line.
But he catches everything in the middle of the field.
Second down and 16 at the 23. We're approaching 3 minutes remaining in the third. O'Brien's pass incomplete, thrown behind Toon, who was covered again by Odoms.
Well, there is a problem. He's covered by Odoms, and Toon ran a route. Whether he's supposed to run a little bit short or not, I don't know. But Toon, or O'Brien, had to throw the ball so quick because Jeff Wright, number 91, was in his face. When you have that kind of a pass rush and you know you're in a second or third and long situation, especially in second and long, you've got to take half of what you need and then worry about it later on. Look at this. Hurries, 7, knockdowns 9, and the sack 1.
McNeil and Hector now in the backfield. O'Brien able to elude one defender. No, he did not hold on. Great effort by Toon, and he is shaken up. Leonard Smith, one of the harder hitters in the NFL, was able to tee off on Al Toon. He caught Toon as he was extending, and apparently Al Toon is all right.
Look at Toon. He jumps at this ball, no fear at all. You talk about going across the middle now, and he takes a shot right in the ribs by the helmet of Leonard Smith. Takes an awful lot of guts to go across the middle, and he knows he's going to get hit. I really admire Toon. The catches that he makes, again, no touchdowns. That's not necessarily all bad.
That is Clifford Hicks awaiting the punt from Louis Aguiar, his 5th punt of the day. He is back at his 8-yard line. And a short punt. Crowd reacting. They felt Burkett made contact. 37-yard punt. 2:44 remaining in the third, and Buffalo will start out from its 37-yard line. Well, next Sunday, NBC Sports will present more NFL action with a doubleheader. And there is the lineup. Starts with NFL Live, 12:30 Eastern Time. Pittsburgh, Houston, Denver, Cleveland, San Diego, KC, Indianapolis, New England. Those are the early games. Most of you will see the first-place Oilers go against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And a terrific second half. You'll see either Buffalo and the Raiders or the Jets and Detroit. Nice hole for Thurman Thomas. Marvin Washington made the stop. The Jets took an early 7-0 lead that was set up by a miscue on a punt attempt by Chris Moore of Buffalo, and then Baxter was able to run it in from 3 yards away. Kelly combined with Reed on a 16-yard touchdown play. That tied it at 7. Here's the draw, and a penalty flag is down as Thomas is stopped by Washington. Pat Leahy with a 19-yard field goal gave the Jets a 10-7 lead in the second. Norwood hit from 31 to tie it at 10 at the half. In the third, Kenneth Davis ran it in from 4, and Leahy connected from 23 yards away to bring us to 17-13 Buffalo. Keith McKellar is the injured Bill, and you saw the illegal motion at the snap indicated
by Keith McKellar. He's the guy that was moving when the ball was snapped. Keith McKellar is this man sitting right over here. He is the tight end, and watch what happens to him. He moves. Ballard moves. Now McKellar, 84, is the guy that's going to get hit, and he just falls over another player, which was Thurman Thomas.
Buffalo has taken a timeout. Keith McKellar, in his 4th season out of Jacksonville State, is an exceptional receiver for a tight end, even on deep patterns.
You know, they look at McKellar, even though he's 6'4", 245 pounds, as a wide receiver also. I mean, he can play that position. He's got enough speed to get out there, and he's got excellent hands. Besides that, he's a tremendous blocker. They have 2 other tight ends, Butch Roll and Metzelaars, number 88. Pete Metzelaars, Butch Roll is 87. McKellar's coming up. He'll be all right.
And is replaced by Pete Metzelaars. Look at the 10-minute ticker. Miami with the 30-7 lead. Cleveland maintaining the big lead on the Colts. And it's Green Bay now 28-14 over Atlanta. Keith McKellar to the sideline with 2:12 remaining. In this third quarter, Pete Metzelaars, 6'7", 250-pound tight end. Check that. Kelly's pass deflected and goes incomplete. Mike Grimm had a shot at it. The pass intended for James Lofton.
That ball was up in the air. Pete Carroll saying, way to go, nice try. That's good. But Brim, number 43, almost gets this ball from the tip up in the air. It goes off of the hands of Andre Reed, off of the hands of Washington, and then into the hands of Brim, and he drops the ball.
And here is Chris Moore punting to Terrence Mathis. Just did get it away. And a beauty. Fair catch down at the 11. It is a 48-yard punt by Moore. So the Jets go 1st and 10 out of the 12-yard line. New York Jets with a record of 7-5, vying for a wild card position. Coming into today, the Jets with a 1-game lead over Miami and Seattle. Miami well in front in their game against Tampa Bay. If they can win it, the Jets lose. They both will be 7-up and 6 down.
You know, one of the things we have not seen the Jets do, and I don't know if they'll do it in this particular spot or not, but that's run a screen. When you have that quick a pass rush, a little play-action pass and then run a screen off the play-action would hold the defense. It probably would work.
And O'Brien having some difficulty with the crowd. It is caught by Moore, and Rob Moore with his first catch of the day, covered by Jackson and Smith.
One thing about Leonard Smith, number 46, is he's not bashful. I mean, he just doesn't limit hitting to one person. He'll hit you as long as you have a chance to get back up. That time, Rob Moore caught the ball, was down on the ground, and Leonard Smith drilled him in his eyes.
A physically intimidating, strong safety. 2nd down and 4 at the 18. Incomplete. Intended for Moore. Covered by Jackson. Rob Moore was telling us yesterday that he has always been a great admirer of Buffalo receivers, Andre Reed and James Lofton. He said he studies their technique. He's enamored with their skill of releasing, getting off the line of scrimmage. In fact, he said Lofton is so adept at pushing off. He says he's able to get away with it. He said in admiration, Moore feels that Lofton is so effective without the officials calling it.
I like his attitude. He said he just studies. He studies both Reed and Lofton to see how to get off the line of scrimmage.
Signals being passed on by word of mouth here. Play clock down to 1, and that'll be a delay of game. Not able to get it off in time. Ken O'Brien is having difficulty now communicating the signals.
Well, one of the things that the Bills are doing against the Jets, they're putting different defensive schemes up because there are times which you'll see Bruce Smith standing up along the line of scrimmage as the end man on the line. What they do
Illegal
then
motion, number 66 on the offense. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
Well, they say illegal motion as that play clock was winding down.
I always thought that if the offensive lineman moved, the play is automatically stopped. 5-yard penalty, and you get on with it.
And here's Aguiar getting set to punt from his end zone. Clifford Hicks is back. Let's see if we get the big rush by the Bills.
Well, they've got the return on.
And a good punt by Aguiar. Hicks muffed it. And Henry Jones able to cover up. It's a 45-yard punt. The rookie from Illinois, Henry Jones, very quick to get to the ball.
It's been a problem all year for the Buffalo Bills as punt returns. Now, Burkett was right there. First of all, it should have been fair catch. And Burkett, look what he does. Now, he's looking right now, but there was no fair catch, so he has to make the play. If he sees a fair catch, what Burkett does is he'll get down on his knees in front of the receiver, because where the ball is going to drop, it's going to go through your hands and down to the ground. He would have been in position, but Hicks did not signal for fair catch.
First down at the 43, a nice hole for Thurman Thomas. Thomas going for 19 off a burst. He was stopped by Eric McMillan.
Notice the last 3 drives of the Bills. Watch Thurman Thomas here up the middle. Just a direct handoff. Washington comes in, does not make the play. That's number 48. And then Thurman Thomas gets downfield. But if you look at the first drive of the last 3, they threw the ball to Thurman on first down. The last drive, he ran it. This time, he ran it.
And Thomas has run for 85 yards on 18 carries. That's the end of the third. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to Buffalo, where the Bills are trying to clinch their 4th straight AFC East title, looking to make it a record of 11-2. They come off the loss last week at New England. That stopped their win streak at 5. Thomas. Thurman Thomas once again reeling off yardage, run out by Eric McMillan. So Thomas has exploded on this series.
The Jets had a blitz on to the left of the screen. Watch him just jump through the hole. Ken Hall at center just blocks down. They get the blocking there. Thurman Thomas jumps through the hole and then sprints to the outside. James Hasty is there. McMillan is there. I'm going to tell you about, we get a chance when the Jets get the ball again, about their offense in the third quarter.
22-yard run, and this is Kenneth Davis who came on for Thomas. Looked like Thomas hurt his arm. He landed on his arm out of bounds, and then he went to the sideline. Thurman Thomas has gone over the 100-yard mark, 19 carries, 109 yards.
That's one of the trainers, Bud Carpenter, talking to Thurman Thomas, and he landed on his arm. You're absolutely right. When they shake their head, he's all right, he's all right. Now we got a holding penalty, I think, against the Buffalo Bills.
Holding number 51 on the offense. 10 yards. Repeat, first down.
I would say he's one of the unsung heroes, Jim Ritter, of this Buffalo Bills football team, but that's when you don't want your name called.
Jim Ritter, the left guard, a starter at that position since 1983, 12th year out of North Carolina State. First and 20 at the 25. Buffalo 17, the Jets 13. Davis, that time a little twist right and left. Ball down by Paul Fraze. Kenneth Davis scored a touchdown earlier today, a 4-yard run. He is a slashing style runner. Last year, as Thurman Thomas's backup, ran for 302 yards. Always runs hard, as we have seen. Kelly intercepted by James Hasty. The Jets take over.
Here's another situation. I'm not taking anything away from the Jets defense and James Hasty because he played it so very well. But watch where Kelly tries to force the ball in here to Andre Reed, number 83. Hasty is drifting. He's covered by 2 people. Kyle Clifton, 59, is there. James Hasty was there. Look at Kelly. He's just trying to force the ball in. Defense of the Jets, super defense. Now, let me just tell you something, Marv, about the offense of the Jets in the third quarter. You ready for this? First of all, a total of 23 yards. 3 plays and a punt, 5 plays and a punt, 3 plays a field goal. That was after the interception. 3 plays a punt, 3 plays a punt.
Jets take over at the 14-yard line. Brad Baxter. White Green made the stop. The interception by Hasty, his 3rd of the season. Had one last week against San Diego, and Jim Kelly has been picked off twice. That is now 16 interceptions for the season as Hasty, who has had a solid year in his 4th season out of Washington State. First down for Baxter and the Jets at the 25-yard line. Jets trailing 17-13. 2 minutes into the 4th. Blair Thomas and the Jets running well. Darryl Talley made the stop. Well, last Sunday, Buffalo, in losing at New England, turned it over 5 times. And once again here today, they're having difficulty in that department.
You know, Marvin, I've talked all year long about the big play offense, and they average over 400 yards a game. The only team in the National Football League that does that. But defensively, all year long, the Buffalo Bills have been held in the games by the defense, even though the offense could score.
2nd and 1. Thomas has the first down. Lodish and Talley making the stop on Blair Thomas, who went for 3 yards. The Jets first down at the 37-yard line. In the 4th quarter this season, that's the story of Ken O'Brien. And notice he has been sacked 9 times. O'Brien has come on in recent weeks. He had back-to-back 300-yard games against the Patriots and the Colts. This has to be considered one of his finest seasons in the NFL. Today has had his problems, but that also due to the pass rush of Buffalo. It's completed to Thomas. Talley on the stop. And Jim Kelly thinking about that last pass that was picked off by James Hasty.
I had a chance to talk to Bill Polian, the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, about Jim Kelly, and he asked, and the fans wanted to know why Jim Kelly was not taken out of the New England game last week, because he was having a bad game. They won't even think about taking that man out of the ball game, because if he can have 3 bad quarters and still have 1 quarter that's going to win the ball game for you.
2nd down and 4. O'Brien had to go short range, has the first down with Baxter. Stopped by Leonard Smith. You have the idea he was looking to pump one downfield, but there was no one open.
He was looking to go downfield. There's no question about it. They want to get a score, but they also want to get it in range here to get a touchdown. A field goal really doesn't help them all that much. It gets them within a point. But the nice part about it is when you're watching this drive, they ran the ball 3 straight times. They got 2 first downs. Then O'Brien came back, and now he's thrown the ball twice and has got another first down. Give credit to that offensive line. Those are the guys that are holding the defense out now.
First down at the Buffalo 47. Play action. O'Brien in trouble. Goes short range again. Baxter slipped. Good recovery. And able to get across the 40-yard line. Tripped up by Leonard Smith, and Ken O'Brien is hurt.
Ken O'Brien made this play happen. And then he got the ball to Baxter, and then Jeff Criswell, number 69, makes a super block on top of it. Here's O'Brien getting away from Bruce Smith. Jumps up in the air, and then he gets sandwiched between Cornelius Bennett and Bruce Smith. He got the ball to Baxter, picked up 8 yards on the play. Here comes the sandwich again. They made it. Bang, bang. He goes down. But it doesn't look like anything happened to the knee. It may be just the wind knocked out of him. It's easy for me to say. Just got hit by 400 pounds, 500 pounds.
Meanwhile, Troy Taylor warming up along the sideline, a second-year player from California, 4th-round draft pick last season, has seen only limited action this year. All right, here's another look at that play. Well, this is the tail end, and well, he goes for the knee, Paul.
Well, he puts his hand on his knee. Now, I don't know as they're not looking at his knee. It looked like he just got the wind knocked out of him. He got hit front and back.
And like Jim Kelly, he is a very tough individual to knock out of a game.
He really is, and the thing about it is that when you see Taylor come in the ball game now, the Buffalo Bills are going to know that. I would imagine the first thing he's going to do is just hand the ball off. Now there's O'Brien walking off. That's why I didn't think it was his knee. I think more than anything else, he knocked the wind on him. But he has to come out of the game for at least one play. Taylor will go in and hand the ball off.
Troy Taylor will take over in a 2nd down and 2 at the Buffalo 39 with 10 minutes, 3 seconds to go in this 4th quarter. And the Bills leading the Jets by the score of 17-13. Troy Taylor goes 6'4", 200 pounds. 2nd NFL season. Taking over for Ken O'Brien. Moore in motion. Blair Thomas picks up the first down. Nice run by Thomas.
You know, this was by Blair Thomas a very good run, because what he did is he saw Cornelius Bennett coming inside and blitzing to the inside. He just moved back to the outside and picked up the first down.
And it looks like Troy Taylor will remain. This is a Jet drive that started on the Jet 14-yard line. It is now first down at the Buffalo 35. Now Taylor to throw as the tight end Dressel. So Troy Taylor able to complete. Dressel run out short of the first down by Kirby Jackson and Leonard Smith.
Dressel just put a move on Shane Conlon, and here comes O'Brien back into the ball game, so he's all right. But Troy Taylor throws the ball out. Nice pass, simple pass, nothing too complicated. Gets it out. He's smiling. He says, hey, I'm 1 for 1. I'm taken out of the game. I did my job. Got 1 first down. Picked up 9 yards on that play, but Dressel's the guy that made it work. He had Shane Collins' legs all tied up, and Collins finally fell on the ground.
8.5 remaining in the 4th. 2nd down and 1 as Ken O'Brien makes his return. Moore comes across. Baxter running for the first down. Tackled by Darryl Talley. Brad Baxter gets the call. He's gone 54 yards on 13 carries. And the Jets have a first down at the 23-yard line.
Big tight ends are in. Duffy and Maddich.
Yes, Trevor Maddich, who calls himself the NFL's fastest 290-pound tight end, coming off that touchdown reception 2 weeks ago. Roger Duffy also checking in for this 10th play of the drive. Tune in motion to the far side. And O'Brien fires. Rod Moore coughed it up. Mark Kelso on the recovery.
They ran a play-action pass, O'Brien, and then hit Moore across the middle. It was set up perfectly. The pass was there. Number 38, Kelso, is going to end up with the ball. Watch this. The pass is there. Bang. Moore catches it. He's coming across. He is hit there by Darryl Talley. The ball comes out into the hands of Kelso. The Bills have the ball at the 7-yard line.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Geo. Get to know Geo, available right around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealers. By RCA, changing entertainment again. By Visa, official card and traveler's check of the 1992 Olympic Games. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm.
Buffalo taking over at a 7. Thurman Thomas with a short pickup. Scott Mercereau made the stop. And check this out. The last 4 possessions by Buffalo. Buffalo with 4 turnovers overall. And the Jets, who turned it over just a moment ago, have committed 3. Amazing. 2nd down and 9. Completed short of the first down to Al Edwards. Mike Brim on the coverage, and that is the 9th catch of the day for Edwards.
And that ball looked like it was tipped by Marvin Washington at the line of scrimmage.
It'll be a 3rd and 2. 6:45 remaining in the 4th quarter. Bills lead the Jets 17-13. Thomas has the first down. Good second effort by Thurman Thomas.
That play really hurt the Jets. They had Thurman Thomas in the backfield. They had him stopped, and he ends up picking up 5 yards on the play.
First down at the 22. Here's the end around by Andre Reed, and again does not work. Well, 2 reverses and an end around. Failing to pick up much. Mo Lewis had that one diagnosed.
Andre said, would somebody kindly block 57, Mo Lewis? Watch Mo Lewis, 57, playing here. They come out to block him. Glenn Parker, 74, you got to block Mo. Or Andre Reed's got to set up the block.
And Buffalo continuing in the no huddle. That is broken up. Crowd seeking a penalty on Kyle Clifton, who reached over Andre Reed to break it up.
Kyle Clifton, number 59. Watch it. Andre Reed, number 83, involved again. Over the top. That's pass interference. I mean, he didn't even hit the ball. The ball hit Andre Reed in the chest after Kyle had already knocked him almost down.
3rd down and 6. Kelly for a wide open James Lofton. An enormous play for the Bills. It goes 54 yards and sets up a first down at the Jet 20.
Tony Stargell just takes the move. He actually slips when he does. James Lofton beats him to the inside, and Brian Washington, had he not been there, it would have been touchdown.
Steve Tasker now split wide to the right. First down at the 20. Thomas stopped at the line by Lageman.
How big that play was of Thurman Thomas to pick up the first down on 3rd down and 5. They had him stopped in the backfield. Pete Carroll knows that, and then one big play. We're talking to Marv Levy yesterday, and he said to us about our big play offense didn't make any big plays against New England. James Lofton just probably made the biggest play of the day.
4.5 remaining. Fourth quarter. The Bills 17 and the Jets 13. Thomas finding the hole. Able to move down to the 12. Tripped up by Hasty.
It'll be 3rd and 2.
It'll be a 3rd down and 2. We are down to 4 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Check of the 10-minute ticker. Miami now 33-14 over Tampa Bay. Cleveland has defeated Indianapolis. The Browns now 6-7. And Green Bay leads Atlanta 31-28. Carwell Gardner and Kenneth Davis now in the backfield for Buffalo. Bills letting the clock run down.
They're going to have to call a timeout because they're inside 6 seconds to get the playoff. Kelly is just letting it go. They let 45 seconds run off the clock.
And the timeout is called. We'll take a break with 3:31 remaining in the fourth.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Domino's. Call Domino's Pizza right now, and you'll be enjoying a hot, delicious pizza when the game is over.
Well, the security force has arrived. They have doubled the force to more than 400, Paul. You'll also be delighted to know that the security includes attack dogs, just in case the celebration gets out of hand, which would occur last year. That is, if the Bills are able to hold on for the victory to win another AFC East title. Here's Thomas for the touchdown. But a penalty marker is down.
I saw Marvin Washington sitting on the ground. Thurman Thomas is in the end zone. They're signaling touchdown, and he's clapping his hands. Now, I know he wasn't applauding Thurman Thomas's run, so it had to be a holding penalty or some kind of movement penalty.
Holding. Number 51 on the offense. 10 yards.
Once again,
Repeat 3rd down.
is the veteran left guard, Jim Richer, called on the penalty. Now, last week against New England, Buffalo penalized only once, but they have been hit by penalties this afternoon. And they have been hurt. 9 penalties, and they've lost 67 yards.
Marv Levy is not a happy man.
That call sets it back to a 3rd down and 12 at the 22. 3:26 remaining in the fourth. And a flag is thrown.
Delay a game. You know, I was just looking here, and you think about throughout the National Football League. Now, I would not be a side judge or a line judge. I would have to be like an umpire, one of those real deep guys, referee, because you have to pass the bench eventually. Whether you make the call or not, you see that guy stand over there? Now you're going to yell at him. Doesn't make any difference whether he made the call. This guy over here, Barr's been bending his ear for like 40 minutes. And if he has something to say, he's going to say it right to him.
It has been a running conversation. 3rd down, 17. Kelly throws for Lofton. Touchdown! Two huge plays involving Jim Kelly and James Lofton. One for 54 yards to bring Buffalo to this end of the field. And now the touchdown pass for 27 to open up the game. The Bills now lead 23-13. Lofton's 5th catch, 109 yards. He beat Tony Stargell. And here is Scott Norwood looking to add the extra point.
again, where the Buffalo Bills and Jim Kelly find the man that's being covered one-on-one. Stargell on Lofton.
Well, they may be checking this out.
All right, here it is again. Lofton fakes to the corner, cuts back into the post. Stargell already made his commitment. Here's Lofton. Is it a touchdown? Oh, yes. There's no question about touchdown. I don't know what they're looking at. He's got to be hit. He's down on his knees. He falls in the end zone. What did I mean? I don't know what you're looking at. The only time Stargell touches him is like moments later. A lot of moments.
And after reviewing it, they said it was a touchdown.
Nice call.
Yes. Wright will put it down for Norwood. 3:21 remaining in the fourth. And Buffalo leading it now by the score, 24-13. Well, last December, following the Bills-Miami game here at Rich Stadium, Buffalo clinching the division, fans stormed the field. You'll recall that, Paul. We did that game. The goalpost torn down, and you can see the security forces making their way, surrounding the field. They do not want any fans to get close to the goalpost.
Well, they showed the fans the football game, and now they're going to have pony rides.
The kickoff by Deloiso. And there will be no return by Johnny Hector.
All right, let me show you what happens to Stargell on this play. And right here, this is James Lofton. Now here's Stargell. When they get to the 15-yard line, Lofton's going to make a move out like this and then back into the corner. Watch what happens to Stargell. Here we go. And stop right there. Here's Stargell. Look at, he's facing towards the sideline. This is when Lofton makes the break, and now he heads here. Here comes the touchdown. It's all over. Stargell had no chance. Once he committed to the outside, it was over with.
Jets from the 20 with 3:12 remaining in the fourth. And O'Brien goes deep. We're set for an update. Let's go to Bob Costas.
Marv, earlier we told you that Lawrence Taylor is inactive for the Giants at Cincinnati. That game has just kicked off. Another question mark was John Elway with the sore shoulder. There he is warming up moments ago, and he is starting for the Broncos at home at Mile High against the Patriots. 20-degree temperatures won't help him get loose, but Elway's going for the Bronx. Marv?
Bob, Buffalo with a 24-13 lead on the New York Jets, and O'Brien tries the other side, and Rob Moore able to get out of bounds, has the first down, covered by Nate Odom. 44-year-old Jets head coach Bruce Coslett, second year as head man. He and general manager Dick Steinberg have done a nice job in turning this franchise. Still a long way to go, but the Jets showing signs and getting respect around the league. Now, he will say, so what for another moral victory if the Buffalo Bills hold on and come up with the win. But there's no question about the improvement of this ball club. And Freeman McNeil is hit down by Leonard Smith. However, looking down the road, a loss here by the Jets drops them to 7-6, and a very difficult schedule ahead in terms of playoff hopes. Next Sunday at Detroit, home for an improved New England team, and they finish up at Miami. Hector has a first down. Bennett on the stop.
And here you are, you're down by 11 points, and you're running plays. You throw a pass to Freeman McNeil in the middle of the field, then you run a quick handoff, trap play up the middle. You get a first down, I understand it, but you have to throw the ball.
Odom's getting a piece of that pass intended for Moore.
If that ball was on target to the outside for Rob Moore, it would have been intercepted because Nate Odom was in perfect position to make the play. A gamble by Odom, but reading the quarterback as well as he did and as quick as he is, he could have been right there.
2nd and 10 at the 45 with 2:14 remaining in the fourth quarter. No heading to the exits by this capacity crowd. They want to view the celebration. Better than 80,000 on hand, and down goes O'Brien. Bruce Smith with his first sack of the season.
All is forgiven. See, all you have to do is get a sack. Now they forgot that he hadn't played, but this is his second game in 13 games. He gets in, and that's his sack alone. All is forgiven.
Down to 2 minutes. I think Bruce mentioned a couple of weeks ago when he comes back for the final 4, he'll end up leading the Bills.
He said he could.
Sacks.
Cornelius Bennett only had 7.
We'll be back in a moment. Back in Buffalo, Marv Albert with Paul McGuire, 1:46 remaining in the fourth quarter. And Buffalo breaking it open in the second half. They were tied at 10 at halftime. The Bills with a 24-13 lead. It's been a terrific day for Thurman Thomas. 23 carries, 124 yards, plus 4 receptions for 33 yards. Now the pass incomplete. Clifford Hicks on the coverage of Chris Burkett. And the Bills now begin the celebration with 1:41 remaining in the fourth. And the Jets hand the ball over on downs. The Buffalo Bills celebrating another AFC East crown. So the Bills will run it out. Kenneth Davis, stopped by Kyle Clifton. Let's take a look at today's Canon camcorder replay of the game, and this was huge. It set up the final touchdown with Kelly connecting with Lofton on a 54-yard pass play.
And he did on the touchdown that Lofton made. He had Stargell going the same way again, the same fake to the outside and back to the inside.
It'll be a second down and 6 at the 46. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. The coordinating producer of the NFL on NBC, John Francis. Today's producer, David Michaels. Today's game has been directed by Andy Rosenberg. Our statistician, Mr. Stats himself, Elliot Kalb, assisted by Carrie Haller and Larry Pollock. And our spotters, good work done as usual by Michael Gluck and Steve Solomon. 1.5 to go in the fourth. Buffalo will make it a record of 11-2. The Jets will drop to 7-6 in a tie for a wild card slot with the Miami Dolphins.
Kenneth Davis, the ball carrier. No gain.
The employee owners of Avis would like to salute the game's most valuable player, Thurman Thomas. He is the winner of the We Try Harder Award. Avis, the official car rental company of the NFL. Thurman Thomas with 90 of his 124 rushing yards in the second half. And, Paul, he accounted for 43% of the Buffalo offense.
And you know, when you go back and you listen to Marv Levy yesterday, with the thing that he was telling us in the New England game, the big play players didn't make the big play. Today, they did make the big play. James Lofton, 2 great catches and down the field for a touchdown. And then, of course, Thurman Thomas with all of his yardage.
And a strong game for Jim Kelly, although he was picked off twice. 21 for 38, 250 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Stay tuned for the Old Spice NFL postgame report. That is coming up momentarily. Here's Davis on a slant. Joe Kelly, the outside linebacker, made the stop. It'll be Bob Will, Bill, and O.J. The Old Spice NFL postgame report. A look at scores and highlights. And that will follow the Jets and the Bills. We're down to 1 minute and counting.
And if you wonder why they haven't left, that's the people here. That's because the Bills have just sewed up the AFC East. Amazing. 104 no-shows. 80,243 people here. And I'll bet you there is more than 100 that left.
Bills averaging 79,000 plus per game. They'll break their own NFL single season attendance record. So Buffalo will take the delay of game. Clock is stopped with 16 seconds remaining. And a look at our lineup tonight here on NBC. Starting with the weirdest show on television, moving to a new time. That's Erie, Indiana, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, followed by the Torkelsons, Hot Country Nights, and Fatal Friendship. Terrence Mathis let it go, and now we're down to 6 seconds to make this one official. The Buffalo Bills bouncing back from the loss last week in Foxborough. And they will make it 17 straight wins here at Rich Stadium, 32 of the last 34. And this series against the Jets dates back to the old AFL games back in September of 1960. When the Bills lost to the New York Titans by the score of 27-3. This is the playoff rundown, including the Buffalo victory today as they vie for home field advantage right throughout the playoffs.
Buffalo Bills, that's the most important thing on their minds, is to be able to play everyone here in Orchard Park.
And Taylor pops it. Chris Burkett down to the 19 as time has run out. The Buffalo Bills have won the AFC East for the 4th consecutive year as they defeat the New York Jets by the score of 24-13. And to this point, the security force has done a very tidy job.
You know, the one thing that Bill Polian was telling me the other day, and they asked the people not to come down onto the field. They have the horses, the dogs, the police, and security, is that he makes a valid point. They really haven't done anything yet. You know, the Jets are trying to get into the playoffs. So all the Bills have done is win the AFC East. Now, they've done that 3 other years in a row, but it's the 4th time. So they really haven't done anything yet. Until they get to the Super Bowl, then they win the championship game if they can, or get to the championship game, then they've done something. But as of now, they haven't done a thing except win the AFC East, and now that means that they're in the playoffs.
But this crowd wants to celebrate. They are applauding for the Buffalo Bills, who go to 11-2 with the victory over the Jets. Coming up, NFL Live. First, these messages.